ain't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. I'm joined by a very special guest today, and that is Amanda Deibert, who some of y'all might already know. Amanda, you have done a lot, and actually, I've kind of become a recent convert, I guess you could call, because I've been learning more about you. Once I had gotten tuned on to your current work for Darkwing Duck. So, Amanda, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
So, like, you have done a lot of work. Not just I know this is a comic book channel, yay! But you do more than just comics. You write for television. You've done. I think one of the most recent things I was looking at was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. That's on Netflix. And like I said, of course, as far as like comics and stuff like that go, you've not just done like Darkwing Duck is not the first thing you've ever done. You've been doing stuff for like Wonder Woman, Star Wars, Hyperspace stories, Batman, Scooby-Doo, Teen Titans Go, all kinds of stuff. And I got it. Like it seems like this is the most obvious thing in the world because obviously you have a finger on the pulse of what I love to call the Saturday morning kids genre, which I personally am happy to see back. But what was the draw for you on Darkwing Duck?
Well, I mean, the draw was it's kind of a twofold thing because I grew up with Darkwing Duck. So there's the nostalgia element, like this was something that I watched as a kid with cartoons with my little sisters. Like, so there's that fun element of it. And then I'm also a mom of a 9-year-old. So then it's getting to re-experience this thing that I enjoyed as a kid with my own kid. And then also like bringing it into a world for her generation, right? Like for new kids to get to enjoy while we as like the older generation, the parents generation get the nostalgia. So for me, it's like a twofold win.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say you nailed it. But well, it was kind of funny because all jokes aside, one thing I've always talked about is that the comics that you typically get at Dynamite, people usually associate with like Vampirella or Red Sonja and stuff of that nature. So like when the day came that I discovered, like, oh, there's a Darkwing Duck comic now. I was like, okay, all right, well, I guess I'll check this out, see what's going on. And I was like, oh wow, this is literally. I open up the comic, I'm like, this is basically like the cartoon as I remember it. Just right there, laid bare before me, and it is amazing. With you taking on Darkwing Duck, was there like because I'm gonna go and tell you now, you nailed the I guess it's hard to say voice because you don't hear anything, but like I hear the voice in my head of Darkwing Duck when I read the comic. But like, was there any like challenge to that? Like what was the process on that, I guess?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Finding the voice is always a huge part of when you're working on characters that are not your own creation, something that has already an established voice, an established thing. Like that's always a really important part of it because that'll make or break you, right? Getting into the headspace of that character. So first I got to do a lot of fun research, which was rewatching all the old Darkwing Duck and doing the thing, like I said, I'm a mom, where I'm like, hey, honey, I have to do a lot of work. And by that, I need to watch hours of cartoons. You want to help mommy go to work? So my daughter has this very interesting idea of like what a job is.
I wish all jobs were this way. It's like, I got to go watch this cartoon, man. Just look, you just want to sit down and watch this with me. Come on.
I know. Like, I just have to watch hours and hours and hours of this one cartoon just to like touch base, get back in the world, because that's, obviously that's the easiest way to immerse myself in the voice and make sure that I'm there and in that place. And then, also with what's really interesting, because, I tried to do at least cameos of most of the big iconic villains that ever show up in the series. And so getting all of their voices as well. And what was really funny is when I was writing Liquidator, I was like, oh, this is really hard. And so I was like writing it and I was like, oh, this is like the hardest character to read. And then I was like doing some research online and I found something that came up that said the reason that Liquidator doesn't show up a lot in the show is because his dialogue is really hard to write and the writers were like, this is really hard. And then I felt better. I was like, okay, it's not just me. Because everything he says is like those old like infomercials. You know, it's all very like sales pitchy, which you think it's going to be easy to do. But when every line of dialogue has to be that, you're like, oh, this gets obnoxious.
Which is weird. I never thought about that as a kid because like Liquidator was one of my favorite characters. And I never really like, you as a kid, you don't think about that sort of stuff. You're not like,
Of course not.
oh, well, this guy he talks like this, and he says stuff on things, and like it. You don't think about that. So yeah, just hearing that because when reading Darkwing Duck and seeing Liquidator show up, like I'm not gonna lie, a small part of me almost cried a little because I was like, I feel seen. I feel like no one else asked for Liquidator but me. Yeah, everyone else likes Negaduck and it was a bush root, and so I was like, no, I was like, give me Liquidator every time. But I was so happy to see it. What now? Speaking of, you also brought back another character, Morana, which is kind of a big staple of Darkwing Duck, but also like what. I'm very curious because, like, I feel like I guess maybe I'm misremembering. I might be misremembering, but I feel like while Morgana was around a lot, I feel like I'm not gonna say like she wasn't like doing anything, but I feel like she's had a lot to do in this comic, and it was really fun to see. Like, was that like was there any like personal choice in there, or was it just like what was the inspiration behind?
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is the fun of getting to be a writer and writing things that you love, is then you get to like be a fan and you're like, I love Morgana. I'm gonna make her have a big part. Like this is a character that I like, that this is fun. I like their relationship is interesting to me because it's like the villain turned kind of good and they've got this little romance thing, but they never like fully commit to it. And so there was so much fun to play with there. And then taking that to like what happens if they did try to make it work. And they do have kind of that like Addams Family vibe of like, we're trying to be normies, but we just can't because that's not who we are. And so for me, that was really me just like playing with something that I thought would be fun for me, honestly.
Well, I was gonna say I loved it because, like I said, and like I said, once again, I'm probably 100% misremembering, but I always just felt like Morgana just never was around like as much as I felt maybe she should be for that type of, because it's very much like a Batman Catwoman kind of, or like a Spider-Man Black Cat kind of dynamic where it's like but I feel like it just for one reason or another just never got, I feel it never got played up as much, so I loved to see it here. But I also thought it was really cool too, just that and being a dad myself, as a kid, you think about these sort of things. You watch Darkwing Duck, it's like, oh, he's got a kid, that's cool, whatever. But like revisiting it now in my 40s, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this hits different now because like it's like Darkwing Duck has a daughter, I have a daughter. I feel like I go through some of some of these same or similar instances. Not so much with the cell phone thing, but but no, like I really like seeing that. So like with the voice of giving Gosselin that voice to have more which she did a lot in the cartoon, but like I feel like just because kind of modernize it up just a little bit. It felt really good to see that. Like, was there any like personal like parenting experiences that you pulled from and placed in there?
For sure. I mean, maybe not exactly situations, because while I'm out fighting crime, and my kid tagging along, it's a very relatable parenting experience. But yeah, I mean, I think it really is, that's my experience as a mother. And, and this comic really is about our generation getting to share this thing that was important to our childhood with our kids. So I feel like it kind of the natural evolution of that was to make an arc that was really strongly about, the parent-child dynamic, basically, because while it's a lot of things and a lot of fighting bad guys and whatever, like this arc is really a lot about his relationship with Goslin and how they have to, figure out how to communicate with each other and listen to each other while also, getting attacked all the time.
And also just the I guess I kind of missed the spiciness of Gosling, because because even going back when I was reading, I was like, because I had not watched Darkwing Duck in some time, and reading this made me go back and watch it, and I was like, wow, I forgot. Yeah, she was really out here, like just spraying everybody. Just it was crazy, but like I loved it because it's easy to just jump right in. Like I didn't even feel like I needed to, and I guess this speaks to your writing, that like even like not having watched Darkwing Duck in years, I just literally picked it up and it was almost like I never had stopped. So like so your many hours of research were very well spent. Now
Good.
the question I have, and this is not related to the comic, but because I know how it is with my daughter. If I introduce my daughter to something that I grew up loving, it is often met with heavy resistance. So I usually don't even say that I grew up with something. I just put it on and just be like, yeah, no, this is something. It was on. I don't know, and then just let her figure it out for herself. How did your daughter respond to Darkwing Duck?
She liked it
Mhm.
and she enjoyed watching it with me, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like she'd much rather go watch Moon Girl. Like that's her current obsession, and that's for her generation.
Yeah.
It's very now like watching an old 90s cartoon, like some of the stuff. She was into it, but not into it the way she's into her stuff.
Similar reaction. My daughter was like, yeah, can you just put Moon Girl back on, please? Please. But no, we had a similar experience with the Chip and Dale movie. She was like, I don't care about this. I was like, she's like, that's cute. She's like, it's cool that you love it, and I love that you love it. But yeah, but no, it's the perils of being a parent that no one warns you about. Now I want to ask this too, because I know that there is a separate Negaduck comic that's out running right now, and I think as of today that we're talking, I know Darkwing Duck number 10, I believe was it number 10. That's one of the last ones I saw. Is there ever going to be like any like crossover or crosstalk between those two?
I don't know. I know they brought me on for 10 issues and then my run is done. As far as I know, I'd be happy to come back, but like there's been no discussion of that. It was also fun. I got to, when the Negaduck arc was starting, I was still working on the Darkwing thing, so I got to read some of the early drafts of those comics because they wanted us to like stay aware of what the other person was doing, so we didn't accidentally do something that wouldn't work with each other. And so that was really fun. It was really good and enjoyable. So I have no idea if they ever will cross, but I think they work great separately. So I mean, obviously, I would enjoy doing more Darkwing Duck, but I'm happy either way.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say this, Dynamite. Please bring her back for some more, please. I'm just putting that out there. Not trying to tell anyone what to do with their time and their money, but just go ahead and do that. Let me ask this too, because talking with some other creatives at Dynamite about properties that they're working with that are just already kind of pre-existing, and I'm always curious to know, like, was there anything that was like, no, you're not allowed to do this?
Well, only in the way that it might conflict with something else, because after the foul play arc, the next 4 issues, I originally pitched a story that took place in the Negaverse. It wasn't a Negaduck story actually, but it was something that like heavily involved the Negaverse, and they were like, you can't do that right now because we're just about to do this Negaduck book. And so like in that way, like I had to shelve it, and I love that idea, and I hope that maybe at some point I'll be able to revisit it because it was really fun. But it was just in those kind of ways where they're like, we have this other book that's going to take place in that universe, and it would be too close and too hard to have like two books running simultaneously that both had it. So, but that was it. I didn't have any, I mean, there was nothing like, I'm sure if I did something really crazy outside of what the character would say or do, that they probably would have been like, rein it in. That's not Darkwing, but
like that ADW.
right.
You're not that was not very Darkwing of you. But well, no, just it's always curious to me stuff like that, just because I know that there, some people kind of lord over their properties more so than others. But it just that's. And it's not like you don't have experience working with like other because clearly you worked on other stuff. But like I just always find stuff like that incredibly interesting. Now as far as the like the comic itself goes, and you've told the story, you got to include all these different characters with the upcoming. I think correct me if I'm wrong. I think Foul Play, the first trade of this, I think it has either just recently come out or is about to release.
Oh my gosh, I should know which one. Yes, one of the. It's like we're like around the time.
Okay.
That it either has just or it's about to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should know this like off the top of my head, and I don't.
I'm actually looking it up because I would have been better prepared, but hey, sometimes we.
Well, the release date changed at some point, and that's where
yes, it's okay, so I see it now. It is going to be May the 21st. Okay, so for whatever reason, 21st? Yeah. Well, for whatever reason, I was under the impression I was like, oh yeah, no, it's already out. But then I was like, no, it's not. It's not.
The dates kind of moved around, and that's where I lost track of. You get like one date in your head, and then it moves again, and then
scheduling is not my strong suit. So I totally get it. I that's why I always tell people don't tell me anything until like it's like ready to rock. Because as I will butcher a name, I will mess up a date. But no, so with this one coming up, and I'm really curious just to know with Foul Play on the way, and you've tackled Darkwing Duck, and it seems like Dynamite just really has their finger on the pulse of all these like awesome Disney properties that they're bringing in, that they're like, hey, look, we can do this, we can do Hercules, we could do Cruella de Vil, we could do Scar, we could do Gargoyles, all this other stuff. Are there any other like I guess what you would call like the Disney old Disney tunes that you're just be like, if they gave it to you, just be like, I'm on it.
Well, I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but they've asked me to do another one. It is another 90s Disney cartoon. I don't know when the books are going to come out. All I have done right now is submit my pitch for the storyline over several issues. So I can't say what it is. So just know that I might spin a tale about something. And that's what I can give you.
Well,
stories.
Well, yeah. So well, I know I for one will be looking forward to that. And so as to not make it hot, we're gonna move on from that one. We don't want to draw too much unnecessary attention just yet, but I have a feeling we will be talking about this again later. Down the road, closer to the time. But let me ask this. You have built this, not to say Darkwing Duck didn't have like a good cast of characters surrounding himself already. You had Launchpad McQuack, which actually screw that question. I want to ask this: how difficult is it to write Launchpad McQuack, or is it just really easy? I'm curious to know.
He's not that hard to. I mean, like in a way, he's a little bit hard because he's kind of a simple guy.
Mm-hmm.
which sort of adds the challenge, but he's just like a fun, good guy, you know, what's not
Mhm.
to love? So you just
Right.
if you just keep it there, then you're good.
Okay. I was curious. I was like, man, I can't like I imagine like for you having talked with other people about this, the challenges of writing things like or certain types of characters. Like I always hear people say it's a challenge to write a character that like is hyper intelligent, but I've always been curious as to whether that's to how difficult it is to write a character that is just so like so chill, laid back, and just so unaware of his surroundings that it's not even funny sometimes. Like I always wonder about that. But getting back to it, like you built this family around Darkwing Duck, and you kind of getting into some of the later issues that you wrote, like building that family dynamic. What was the inspiration behind that?
I mean, like they're just it's such a fun dynamic. And it's also kind of fun to play with, you know, Darkwing himself, like his big strength and his big weakness is that he has all this confidence that he can do everything by himself and he doesn't need anybody else, which is, you know, this constant challenge. So I think the more that you can have him grappling with the fact that like actually sometimes there are people who add value to his life and who he cares about and who might even be better than he is at some stuff. I just think that's like, you know, that's a fun thing to play with a character with an ego that is so large, but then also remembering that like he, you know, he does have a world and people that he cares about deeply, and you know, and keeping that heart in it, because otherwise he's just kind of an egomaniac and, you know, a bit of a dick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like I said, going back, like, is one of those things. Like, because sometimes you forget, and going back, and I was like, man, yeah, he was a jerk a lot of the time. Like, it's like you forget because you're not thinking about that as a kid. You're just like, oh, no, he's cool. But no, it's like, oh wow, yeah, no, I don't want to be that dude. Like he's that guy that like he's fun to hang out with. But I don't know if I could live in the same house with him.
Exactly. You wouldn't want him to be your roommate. Not at all. Not at all.
But no, I just thought it was really cool because I like it when and I feel like this is like a mantra for a lot of storytelling over the last few years. It's like found family, like because it's just become more of a relatable thing for a lot of people. So like when I saw that, I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is awesome because like they're just kind of doing their thing. Like Gizmo Duck and so on, just like hanging out, just like yeah, like this is cool. I love to see stuff like this, and all of it feels like so in place. Just like everything, it makes sense. Yeah, of course, Darkwing Duck is gonna hang out with these people, because why not? One of the other things that I wanted to ask, and we'll kind of use this as a closer. Is it easier to write for television or for comics?
Comics by
Ooh.
miles.
Ooh.
And this is a thing. My wife is a comic book illustrator, so I hope she can't hear me because the artists hate it when you say this. But the reason that it's easier to write for comics than television is that there aren't the budget constraints. So like with
Mhm.
TV, like anytime you add a new character or a crazy new environment or whatever, it gets more expensive. Like in
Mhm.
animation, it's adding more characters or more places because you've got like the design elements that get more expensive. In live action, if you add more people or really elaborate sets or places or, special effects or whatever, that gets more expensive.
Mhm.
And in comics, you really can't, like, you can go to outer space and that's going to be the same as if you have people talking in the living room, as far as like someone has to draw it. And this is where the artist can get, because you can say something like, you can have a robot army of thousands of people, and then they're like, yeah, but I have to draw it. So cool, thank you so much for those elaborate things. But it is, there's more room for your imagination to just kind of run wild without having to think about the more technical aspects that sometimes you do have to hem you in when you're writing for TV.
Mhm.
So
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah. And then I guess, wow, yeah. Yeah, no, you know what? I respect that because I can't imagine as a person who is writing for television, because you always hear people say, "Oh, why don't people do this in TV? Why don't people do that in TV?" And the thing the rebuttal I rarely ever see come up is budget, which is something I never even really thought about. Like yeah, in terms of like special effects and set pieces and whatnot, yeah. But like in terms of like yeah, like you're just adding a character, it's like, oh yeah, that does actually add on to the overall sum total of how much this is all going to cost. And it does. Yeah, wow, you just put a whole new perspective on that for me.
I mean, it's the stuff we don't think about if we don't do it, right? You think like,
Right.
especially it's a thing. Writing in animation is if you add a character like that has to be designed, built, then somebody has to voice it. Like it's a whole like there are all these things, but you never like watching TV. You're just enjoying it. You're not.
Mm.
You're just like, oh, what a cool idea! What a great character. And if you can justify it, and if it's really gonna add something to the story, they'll go for it. But if you're just like, and I just randomly want this one woman to pop in, and she's just gonna say this one funny line, and then we're never gonna see her again, it's like, well, do you really need that?
It's like, look, you're adding thousands upon thousands of dollars to our budget on this, and
Right.
we're just gonna say no.
Right.
But thank you for that perspective though, because yeah, that's just I swear that is literally like never anything that's crossing my mind in regard to just even something just what seems so simple as adding a character, which I guess from a writing standpoint it is simple, but
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but
for me it's very easy. I just type
like yeah, no,
I go, oh, I'm brilliant.
yeah, I'm gonna add this character. Her name's Suzanne, and she works at a coffee shop, and she's kind of snarky. There you go. All right, y'all have fun with that. And well, wait, well, how now I have to. Okay. Which I guess.
And then she goes to outer space in her spaceship, and it's custom, and there's a big explosion, and Suzanne is in thousands of pieces.
Oh my God. It's like, and you know what? Y'all figure out how to do that. Well, I guess you know what? I lied. One last this will be a quick one. Because you mentioned your wife is a cartoonist. Have y'all ever worked on anything together?
Yeah, so she's an illustrator. She's a comic book illustrator.
Okay.
Yes, we've done Wonder Woman together.
Okay.
Done John Carpenter's Tales for Halloween Night together. We have another book with Storm King that's called Death Mask. It's a horror like adult thing. The work that we've done together is my more adult comic side of things, so less the Saturday morning cartoon side and more the grown-up stuff, because she tends to be in the more like adult comic genre world with her art. So those are where we team. But yeah, we do. We're working on another book together right now. She's in the other room drawing it, or she better be.
Like I can see it now. I can see it now. Like as soon as the interview's over, like how many pages? How many pages have you completed while I've been in here? It's like love you. But no, I think that's awesome. Because you have. I feel like that's just such an even more interesting dynamic. When you already have like an intimate partnership with somebody else, but you also have a creative partnership with that person as well. So I think that's beautiful. I think that's absolutely positively beautiful. And yeah, I look forward.
We understand what each other does very well, which is very helpful.
I was gonna say, yeah, like you can better play on each other's strengths, and that's like that. Like truth be told, I'm actually very excited to see what it is that y'all have coming up. So, and speaking of, once again, we already already put this out here, but May, I'm actually making sure I look at this because I want to make sure I have it correct. May the 21st. Make sure you go and pick this up. I'm gonna have links in the description and very likely a pinned comment below. Go check them out. You will be able to find this. Go pre-order it. If you go into your local comic shop, go in there, tell them to get this for you ASAP. You got plenty of time, but don't wait too long because just saying. Also, if I'm also gonna have links to follow you on social media, all your various places. So you can go check out more of Amanda's work. I do highly recommend Darkwing Duck as well as her other works. Go check out her Wonder Woman. I think you did Wonder Woman 77 and was it is a sensational comics Wonder Woman as well. Go check those out. Go check out everything. I'm just gonna put links. I'm just gonna have links in there. You just go click on stuff. Just go click on stuff. Is there anything else that you wanted to plug while you were here?
Sure. I've got currently a preschool show, Hot Wheels Let's Race on Netflix.
Okay.
And that just came out this month, and that I'm still working on some more episodes for, and some more Batman and Scooby-Doo coming up. Some more. I've got another Rocket and Groot graphic novel for Scholastic coming out this fall. So yeah, just check out anything.
Well, like I said, thank you so very much for taking your time to sit and chat with me. And yeah, just this was awesome. And I hope we get to do this again. Hopefully when the next thing
When something
that
comes out.
is yeah, you know, when that happens, you know, hopefully we'll be able to talk about that at that proper point in time where NDAs and you know all that other stuff are behind us.
I look forward to it.